Et bienvenue tout le monde. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lydia Pion, and I'm the Vice President of the Trend Arlington Community Association here in Nepean. It's my pleasure to be your MC for today's announcement. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that the land on which I am speaking and the land on which the project we are announcing today will be built is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabeg people. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. Before I introduce our speakers, I'll ask that all participants and media keep their microphones on mute until it's their turn to speak. Our Zoom facilitator, Matthew, will be unmuting speakers and media at the appropriate times. There will be an opportunity after the announcement for media to ask questions. I'll be moderating that Q&A, and I'll kindly ask that questions be specifically about this wonderful project. On behalf of the Trend Arlington Community Association and the community we serve, it is my absolute pleasure to announce that through the funding and support we are receiving from our various partners, we will soon be building a magnificent outdoor wood pavilion to be constructed in Trend Arlington Park. This is something that we have been working on for years as one of our legacy projects after a tornado tore through our neighborhood in 2018, and we're thrilled that it's finally going to happen. We hope the work will be completed in summer of 2023. With that said, it's my pleasure to introduce Chandra Arya, our Member of Parliament for Nepean, to deliver remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada.
Thank you, Lydia. It's a great pleasure to be here. First, I would like to recognize our Member of Provincial Parliament, Minister Lisa MacLeod, and obviously our City Councillor Keith Egli and Sean Devine, the President of the Trend Arlington Community Association. I know Sean here and Lydia here, they represent the great community of Trend Arlington who have come together, worked together during the tornado that hit the community some time back, and even now they are working together in battling this pandemic. I wish I could be there in person to celebrate this important announcement, which will make a real difference to the residents of Trend Arlington neighborhood, indeed for all of Ottawa. And it's also a pleasure to be here on behalf of my colleague, Honorable Catherine McKenna, the Federal Minister for Infrastructure and Communities. These are unprecedented times. Canadians and people around the world have been impacted by COVID-19. Since the beginning of this pandemic, all the three levels of the government, we all work together in battling this pandemic. Canada, of course, has been affected, but compared to many other countries, we have been able to take this on together. I said all three levels of the government, but importantly, in cooperation with all Canadians. Canadians have shown great solidarity. Canadians have made sacrifices and they have done their part to help limit the spread of this virus. Today, I'm so pleased to announce that the Government of Canada is providing more than $100,000 to support the construction of a wood pavilion adjacent to the Trent Arlington Community Centre in Nepean, Ontario. This new pavilion will provide increased access to outdoor event spaces, enhance community living by strengthening connections, and provide more opportunities for residents to meet safely, share experiences, and be active. Importantly, this project will also memorialize the events of September 2018, when a tornado blew through this community, displacing residents, businesses, and destroying property. By using lumber milled from a portion of the fallen trees uprooted by the tornado, this thoughtful legacy project will serve multiple community needs and stand as a symbol of community strength, resilience, and determination to build back what was lost and to build back better. We know that people want to live and work and build sustainable communities in places where culture thrives. By investing in spaces like this pavilion, we are building a more livable, more connected communities, making them more attractive to visitors and future residents, and supporting the success of future generations. Investing in community recreation centers, and cultural buildings, promotes health and well-being, and builds inclusive and sustainable communities where people want to live, work, and raise families. The pandemic has offered an opportunity to think about what really matters in our communities, engage in meaningful conversations about taking care of those around us, and reflect on the kind of future we want to build. Together, we'll build a fairer, more resilient Canada that works for everyone. The Government of Canada is working closely with municipalities, provinces, and other partners and stakeholders to get projects built quickly, projects that makes a positive difference in the lives of Canadians in these trying times. Infrastructure allows people to live healthier lives. It helps grow businesses, it keeps communities connected, and with the health and economic challenges presented by COVID-19, building healthy, inclusive, and resilient communities has become more important than ever. Here in Ontario, we have so far invested over $8.1 billion through our infrastructure plan in more than 2,750 projects across the province. Projects that are strengthening the communities where you live, work, and raise your families. This is critical to our country's recovery as we move forward and build our future. Together, we will improve the well-being of all Canadians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MP Arya. And now it's an honor to turn the floor over to Minister Lisa MacLeod, our Member of Parliament, Provincial Parliament for Nepean, to offer remarks on behalf of the Government of Ontario.
Thanks very much, Lydia. Thank you very much, MP Arya, for your touching words. That couldn't have come at a better time for our community as we are in the third wave of COVID-19 and, of course, dealing with some very real human challenges. But I think today is a clear reminder of the resiliency and the strength of the people of Nepean, and in particular, the people of Trent Arlington. I'd also like to welcome our city councillor and a great friend of mine, Councillor Keith Egli. Councillor Egli has been a leader on the public health front in the last year and 1 month as we've been dealing with the public health crisis as our chair of Ottawa Public Health. But he too was with us in those days in the aftermath of the tornado, and he and I had the opportunity to tour some of the areas with our Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing in the aftermath. And of course, I want to say thank you to Sean Devine for his leadership in the community in the aftermath of the tornado and bringing this to life. You know, I'll just recount my experience. I had taken the train that day from Queen's Park. My daughter Victoria, who goes to the neighboring school here, high school. We were coming home from Toronto on the train, and Joe had picked us up. And he had been to Afghanistan twice. And when we got off the train, he said, "I want to prepare you for a war zone." And for somebody who had been to Afghanistan, I thought, well, what does it even mean? And we were coming down Woodruff because we, at the time, lived in the neighboring community of Leslie Park. And as most people know, my constituency office is here in Trent Arlington. We were driving through and I saw the great devastation in Craig Henry. And then I saw the greater devastation with mature trees being destroyed in Trent Arlington. And, I think back to those days of the strength of the community. And in particular, I'd like to say thank you to the Arlington Woods Church, who really took a great leadership role in making sure that there was coffee and tea for people, even though their roof had effectively been ripped off. They were just there each and every day. And, I look now, at the time, myself and Keith were able to, along with Daryl Bartron, Jan Harder, feed tens of thousands of people that weekend as those who were not impacted by the destruction of the tornado were without power. And, I saw our community come together like no other. Now, fast forward to the pandemic just last year, and we had our first stay-at-home order. And every morning I would wake up at 5 o'clock And in order to start my day, before I would get on my calls at 7 o'clock in the morning, I would walk from my house up through McClellan Road, down through Banner, and I would look at that destruction each and every day. And so this particular project is so meaningful on so many levels to our community, but also to me personally. And I think that on behalf of the Honorable Laurie Scott, my colleague, the Minister of Infrastructure, to be able to announce that along with the federal and provincial, the municipal governments, we are investing $85,000 to make this happen is extremely important to remark not only the tornado, but also the resiliency in which we have seen that community and our community come together. It's a site of renewal. It's a site of hope. It's a celebration of the remains of the beautiful forest that have been transformed into materials that will construct an outdoor wood pavilion for our community. And it's an important project to enhance the community living through increased access to new recreation and outdoor events. And as Ontario's Minister of Recreation and Sport and Leisure, I can say that this will no doubt also strengthen the community connections and provide more opportunities for residents to get outside and be active. And I think of my own daughter going to school right in this community, and her and her friends who live in Trend Arlington going for bike rides after this challenge is over is going to be absolutely instrumental. So again, very proud to be part of this community. I'm very excited about this particular project, and I know that it will bring our community together. And like Chandra, I would really like to be there in person. I mean, I am here in person, but I'm just not at the site. I'm in my constituency office, which is just a stone's throw away. But I do agree with his sentiment. There will be a time when we can all come together again. And at that time, we'll be able to shake one another's hands, give each other a gentle hug, and really celebrate. But until that time comes, today is the most appropriate venue for us to do this. So with great thanks to all three levels of government and the leadership of our community association, I just want to congratulate everyone involved. And may we never forget the tornado and how it brought our community together and made us stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister MacLeod. This brings us to our next guest. We're very grateful to have Ottawa Ward 9 City Councillor Keith Egli here with us to speak on behalf of the City of Ottawa.
Yeah, good morning. First of all, it's great to see everyone, even if virtually. Sean called me last night to make sure I was coming, and I said the only thing that might hold me up is I got the vaccine yesterday. I said I'm not sure how I'm going to feel the next day. So I'm shameless plug. Go out, get your vaccination, get your earliest possible opportunity to get the vaccination. It's important. Protects you, protects your family, your neighbors, your community. So please do that. But about this project, I remember sitting with Sean and Lydia when they came to my office and rolled out the plans and showed what they wanted to do. And I think it's an excellent example of all three levels of government coming together. We've done that before in this ward. I think back to the announcement that we made a number of years ago for the restoration of the Pinny Sand Dunes, for example, which we had all three levels of government involved in. And so I think, between these ridings and this ward, we work well together, and we cooperate on projects for the greater good of the overall community. So this is another example of that, and the city will be helping out in a number of ways. We'll be providing resources through staff and sort of logistical and technical support in terms of the build itself. And of course, we'll be working with Sean and his team through the community grant program to contribute to the project as well. I think the project's important for a couple of reasons, and Lisa and Chandra already touched on this, that it will be a touch point for the community for years to come as to what happened when the tornado ripped through our neighborhoods. And we got a bit of a start on that with the new entryway to the community building that we were able to work with Sean and his team on to again incorporate some of the wood left behind by the devastation of the tornado. And this will be a nice accompanying piece. And the thing I really like about it is, I say, it will become a touch point. It will become a place where you can have community barbecues, concerts, maybe even, depending on the date and time of year, outdoor AGMs for the community association. So I think it's important, and we've also learned through COVID that it's important to have varied places for people to gather, and that gathering outside can sometimes be a better way to do things. So this gives us options, it gives us hope and renewal in this community. And it's nice to see, I saw lots and lots of repair work being done over the last number of years, as has Lisa and Chandra, but this is a new project, it's a fresh project, and it's something new and positive for the community. So I want to thank everybody who came up with the idea, and all the levels of government for pulling together and supporting it. And I really look forward to standing in front of it when it's opened with everyone, not over a Zoom screen or a Facebook page, but actually being there and cutting that ribbon and saying thank you to everybody and celebrating together as a community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Egli. And finally, I'd like to introduce my colleague and collaborator on this project, Trend Arlington Community Association President, Sean Devine.
Thank you, Lydia, and hello, everyone. And thank you, Keith, Lisa, and Chandra for being here today. I'm going to begin with the same words that I'm going to end with, which are thank you, not only for what this announcement represents for our community, but for the opportunity to be a part of it today, because it's particularly exciting for me to be making this announcement today, which is my last full day as president of the Trend Arlington Community Association. Tomorrow we hold our virtual annual general meeting, at which point my 4-year term as president comes to an end. And so it's pretty fantastic to leave the position with such good news. The community of Trend Arlington has, as you've heard, certainly been through a lot in the last few years. Of course, we are all affected by the pandemic on a daily basis. Just yesterday, we had to postpone one of the few upcoming community events that we thought we'd be able to continue with after having canceled so many activities and programs over the past year. So during a time when it's hard for us to fulfill our mandate of building community spirit, it's tough to lose these kinds of community building opportunities. And as you've all heard already, Trend Arlington was certainly hit hard by the tornadoes that struck many Ottawa communities in 2018. Even though we've worked to rebuild our homes, anyone who walks through Trend Arlington today can still see the tornado's long-lasting impact. As you've heard, Trend Arlington is a neighborhood that is known for its majestic white pine trees, and the majority of those trees were lost to the tornado. While many of those trees have been replanted, it will be multiple generations before the neighborhood is restored to what it once was. So when our association took it upon ourselves to help restore not only our community, but our community spirit, we knew that our trees had to play a central role in that. And for that reason, we are very grateful to our partnership with the City of Ottawa, among the other partners that I'll recognize in a moment, because the city and Councillor Egli worked very close with us to salvage and store several dozen of our lost trees for various legacy projects that we developed, none as significant as this amazing outdoor pavilion. This pavilion, which will include lumber from trees we lost to the tornado, is going to be the central feature in a park development project, which will also include a new community garden. So as we look to a future where this kind of outdoor public infrastructure is vital to a community's health and safety, and as we imagine the diversity of events and programs and outdoor annual general meetings that will take place year-round in this pavilion, we are so grateful to have something like this to help us not only continue building that community spirit, but which will also memorialize the historic tornado that brought our community closer together. And so I want to end by recognizing the partners who have joined us to make this happen, along with the strong support of the City of Ottawa's Department of Parks and Facilities. We've been very fortunate to have received financial contributions from the United Way of Eastern Ontario. And obviously, the purpose of this announcement today is to acknowledge the very generous funding from our federal and provincial partners. We are thrilled to be awarded this level of funding, to be honest. And so on behalf of Trend Arlington, thank you very much to Minister McKenna and Infrastructure Canada, and to Minister Scott and Ontario's Ministry of Infrastructure, as well as to all of your hardworking staff who manage this funding competition. Of course, I want to thank our MPP, Minister Lisa MacLeod, for her support, as she has been such a devoted advocate for Nepean for more than 15 years. And Lisa, from your constituency office, you will almost be able to see the roof of this pavilion, so I look forward to that. And finally, I want to offer a special thank you to our Member of Parliament, Chandra Arya, who has championed this project from the get-go and has worked hard on its success every step of the way. And so on behalf of a community that has endured its fair share of unwanted impacts, thank you to our many friends and supporters for helping to build a legacy project that will have such a positive and long-lasting impact on the community of Trent Arlington.
Thank you, Sean. And thanks to all of our guests for being here this morning. That brings an end to the speaker portion of today's event, and now we'll open the floor to questions from the media.